to Claremont. Moving on, anything? Head for heaven. Hang on, just have a look. I've got a 6 to 1 chance on my card. Oh, head for heaven needs a run, so that instead of being half a stretch, that'll probably be 10 to 1, yeah? A double negative. Thanks, John. Yeah, 140. Cavaliero without money, only got to jump round. It's 10 to 11 on the card. What about Joker Jack? Do you give that a chance? All right, don't have to laugh. Carry on, it's only my selection. Keep going. It's on the 210. Hang on, what number is that, John? 3 from the bottom. I've got a ROUF on my card, Supreme Day. Not scored well. What about Dave Nicholson's horses? Are they coming back to life now or not? Yeah, I did recently. He started having a couple of winners again, hasn't he? But ticket is gift. It's 8 on the card, and so that's a negative. That'll probably go out to 12 to 1. Well, tell you the truth, I'm just transferring the tissue over from the other man, and I'm a bit under pressure. You're the first phone call I've had this morning, so I haven't done much on any of these races. I was told that Polar Flight was fancied last night, Venetia Williams' horse, and now you've given me a negative for the second in. That'll make it even shorter, won't it? And well, they say it's not a race at all, the 140, is it, where they've got Whipper's Delight and Joker Jack in the race. Yeah. Have a go, yeah, OK. Now, just one quickie, John. Catterick, Wolverhampton, any news? I should be betting on the aways at Catterick and Wolverhampton today. What race, please, John? You can pull yourself together, it's early in the morning. Well, the Wolverhampton card. Yeah. OK. In the 220, Dancing Cavalier. Let's have a look quick there. 220, Dancing Cavalier. It looks like belly to belly on the card, but anyway. Evens. But anyway, that's a double star nap Dancing Cavalier in the 220 at Wolver. Thank you, John Bates. Thanks very much. I'll speak to you later, mate. I'll probably get an update from the course from you if anything happens. Follow that page 314 on the racing channel and see any movers for me, will you? See you later. Bye. Right, let's go back to...
You lost the calls as well, Barry, in the car on the way to the...
Yeah, well, I've got my mobile and I've got a little earpiece, so I can sit there and chat and Phil has to sit next door and he has the tissues in front of him and I say, go to the 220 at Wolverhampton and he changes the prices there and whatever. So all during the course of the journey it happens, and finally, after I've had my pitch settled at Plumpton today, then I will ring round all my contacts once again and say, give us the final update everywhere, and then I'll go to war with the enemy from there on in.
Phil, of course, is the clerk that you mentioned on TV one morning was sick, wasn't it? And anybody want to earn a bond?
Oh, yeah, do you remember that? Yeah.
Turn up at Newmarket.
Yeah,
Phil actually turned up, didn't he? He said, well, I heard how much I was earning.
Yeah, his daughter gave birth very early in the morning, and it was his first grandchild, and he said he wasn't sure what time, if it was born, whether he'd be there or not, could have been with his wife, who was excited. But anyway, so it was more of a laugh than anything. I said, look, Clark can't come, the light and dark can't come today. Right. Anybody want to earn a bottle, turn up because Phil can't come. I went suddenly the phone next, it was Phil. He said, I'm coming. He said, I didn't know I was going to get £200 a day. The worst part was, I had about 10 phone calls. They said, I'll do it. I won't play that game again. £200 a day's work. Right, 112.40. Let's carry on. 5 to 1. He made that a double careful, didn't he? 25 to 1. 10, 9, 2, 20, 14, 6, 9, 2. Must bring BB. See what he knows. 6, 4, 1, 0, 1, 2. 110, 4, 6, 8 to 13, 140. Hi, good morning, it's Barry Dennis. What do we know today, please? Plumpton particularly, but I'm also going to be betting at Catterick and Wolverhampton. No, he's not here. Right. I've had a... yes, I've had a negative for the second in there, Polar Flights race. Perhaps now ear roll on, Polar Flight. Yeah. The big firms are betting on the 240 race, okay. Hang on, Catterick, which race, please? The 2 o'clock at Catterick. Number 16, Celtic Duke. 8 to 1 over into what? Ching, half a stretch? Ching and Neves, I'll put that on there for the card, yeah. Nothing at Wolver so far. The 250 non-runner. Huntswood 250 a non-runner. 220, 250. What number's that, Bell? Number 4. Huntswood a non-runner in the 250. That's the only non-runner so far. Okay, mate. Well, I'll give you. Can I give you a call up just when I get the races later on and give an update? Cheers, mate. Bye. Okie dokie. I've got one positive for Polar Flight and a negative for the second in that race at Plumpton today, so Polar Flight could will be a lot shorter than is anticipated on the tissue. Back over to here, 12.40, 1.40, 10 to 11, 6 to 4, 4 to 1, 100 to 1 Joker Jack. Think that's the right price, Dave? 100 to 1 Joker Jack?
1,000 to be honest.
I'll put another naught on it, shall I?
The other 3 phone to get round, of course.
Oh, all right then, yeah. It might not sound so clever then, might it? The 210 race, 9 to 2. They show 8 to 11 Polar Flight. I'm going to make that here roll on for a while because of the other stories. 100 to 1 Colour Counsellor, 20 to 1 Fox Ridge.
People at home, of course, wouldn't know what the thing you were talking about with all these racecourses like ROUF and Chicken and Mares.
Well, it's deliberate. It isn't deliberate. It's just that it becomes so commonplace, the jargon now, that even when I'm talking to myself, I say Chicken Mares instead of 5.5 to 1. And so it's not deliberate for any reason other than the fact that at the races, it was this silly old idea from 50 years ago that the punters shouldn't know what the bookmakers are doing and what the prices they're relaying to each other, and so they invented all these different languages. There's lots of them, but the common one is bottle and half, carpet and half, rope and half, ching and half stretch, and Neves TH, and that's just back slang, isn't it?
So a lot of them are backwards, aren't they?
And most of them are sort of back.
Some are also down around prison terms, aren't they?
Yeah, well, carpet is supposed to be 3 years in jail or something, wasn't it?
Right.
I don't know. And you got, I don't know what the. Listen, I haven't been in jail yet, but I don't know what the 3 years in jail is significant.
12 months it was a stretch.
Yeah.
12 is a stretch.
Yeah.
6 is half a stretch.
Yeah, we get those bits, but I've just adopted them like everybody else did. I've only been in the game a short time, David. I started in 1970 on race courses and 1961 in betting shops, and betting shops had never heard of these terms, had they? 1960, but once I got the race courses in 1970, suddenly everybody's using them. I didn't know what they were talking about for the first 2 years. I had to pick it up myself, but now it just becomes commonplace. 33, 100, ROUF Supreme, we put a plus against that, there's some negatives there. The 240, 25, bottle and half. What's that, Lightning Lad, 100 away, carp and half, 14 euro. LFA Cardinal Rule and ROUF and half. Scavo. Just 2 races to go. Carp and half Young Thruster. Chingames 1 for Willie. 100 to 7. Double carpet. Pony. Double carpet. On the head. Zero. 50. 100. 100. And the last race. 8 ticket is, but got a negative. Neves a ROUF. Carp and half. ROUF. Ching. TH. Right, that's the tissue done for Plumpton, and there's the tissue we'll take for the other away meetings I should possibly bet on. The trick now is to start getting ourselves prepared to leave, and off to Plumpton.
never know. The racing crowd, you can't ever tell. Obviously flat, it has to be sunny and warm for a flat quad to come out, but the jump people, they come out in all weathers, don't
Yes,
they? So
yeah,
often,
that's true, yeah.
So I'll just drop this round and we'll go through the turnstile, okay, young man?
Got it.
Yeah.
I'll just drop my gear through because I can't get it through the turnstile. I'll be
yeah,
straight back, boys. And I'll just, that's 27.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. One.
Thank you.
2. 3.
That's half the battle, though, Barry. The expenses you've got to pay to get into the track and everything, isn't it? I mean,
So people are under the illusion that bookmakers and their staff get in free, but the truth is we have to pay the same as the punters to get through
you
everywhere.
pay 5 times the entrance fee to bet.
And we pay 5 times the entrance fee to bet on top of that, and plus the petrol expenses and the staff expenses, and you know, it comes to quite a
So
decent.
you've got to win a fair bit in
Yeah,
a week before you
have-
actually make a living.
My expenses roughly £300 a day. He's calling out what wages, yeah. My expenses are roughly £300 a day. And so if I go out 5 times a week, I've got to win £1,500 just to break level.
Yeah.
So it depends what the turnover is. And if there's a good turnover, obviously I wouldn't be in the game, would I, unless I was going to survive, unless I couldn't do that. But there's plenty of weeks, the disappointing weeks, are when you break level or lose, or break level or lose, and the expenses pile up, and you're starting to get the needle about the game, aren't you? You think that, but they've even stopped under the new system us bookmakers buying members' badges, which obviously get us in cheaper. They don't want bookmakers and staff owning members' badges because they realise that we attend every day. And it saves us it saves me particularly hundreds of pounds a year by owning a members' badge, doesn't it?
All your staff have got to be registered as well now, haven't
Yeah, we always be registered and pay a fee for them to be registered. But let's take Lingfield badge for instance, absolute marvellous value, £160, and you get 88 meetings for £160 if you pay before the 1st of December. But
now you can't do that.
Now the proposal is that all staff have to have a
ID card
and a receipt of purchase of coming through the turnstile, all staff, and so therefore there's no good them having badges. So generally all the way round, that we no longer will bookmakers be able to, well, won't be viable to buy the annual badges.
So for a good day today then.
Well, Dave, with the breakfast and the petrol and the inns, we're already doing about 100 quid, so we've got to start going.
Hang on.
10 years ago.
Boy, I can't hear my name called out here.
I'm sorry.
We're down to me, are we? Wherever's available, please. Pardon?
1 or 2 in the front.
Well, the other end. Is the pitch the other side of Mr. Lane available?
Yes, yeah.
No.
They're about
Kathy's taking that. There's one the other side of that, which is 12.
That's too far down, isn't it? I'll go. You see where I put my tools already in the back row?
Yeah.
I'll stay there. Thank you very much.
She's behind Roddy Bolton, so...
You're very polite this morning, Mr. Dennis. What's happened to you? You got out of bed the right side. Where's Teddy?
So I'm in the back row in the middle there, okay? Thank you.
So why are you staying there then, Barry? You can put a picture in the front row.
Well, the pitch on the front row is up the other end there, and generally the public come through the gangway there. They all congregate in those betting shops and in them bars underneath there, and anybody that comes in from there has to come in through that bottom entrance exit of members, don't they?
So where's the number 1 pitch here then? Number 1 pitch here would be by
The best pitch to be in is this where Ronnie Bolton's gone, and correspondingly the second best pitch is here, and the third best pitch is here, and then the one the other side is quite good, okay? But then gradually, as you move down further along the front row, you're getting further away from the general public that come through the gap between the two stands. So
you're thinking it'll be better today, Bob?
well, I might as well be in, although I'm behind these, I also intend betting at Catterick and Wolverhampton, don't I? And the betting shop is just through there, and the public has come back through there, so they find easier access to me there than they will right up the other end of the front line. And when there's a small crowd, the number 1 up there, there's not many people get there.
It's an hour before the first race. There isn't many people here. I mean, no. It was like a very small crowd. Although sometimes they come out of the ground at the last minute.
Yeah, it's a possibility, but we've always found that this meeting isn't on the calendar, and whenever a meeting isn't on the calendar, for some unknown reason, it's not very, very, very well attended. I don't know why, but this was swapped with Fonkwell, I believe. Originally it was supposed to be in Fonkwell, so Over the years of experience, we've found that meetings like that are sudden changes in the calendar don't bring big crowds. But whether or not that happens today, I'm not sure. But I prefer not to take a chance of going down there in number one, away from the action, as opposed to being up here where most of the public probably congregate.
Now, how many more calls have you had on the phone on the way down to the car?
I had 3 calls on the coming down, and what I do with tissues, oh, here's my tissues. Whilst during the journey we've transferred all prices for all Patrick and Wolverhampton over as well, and the one call was just confirming that Cavaliero was strongly fancied. Another call gave us a new line that Millmount is fancying the 340, and a confirmation that Tickety's Gift probably will need another couple of runs before it's at its best, and so that might drift.
Will all bookmakers here today get that information? Have they all got the same connections, or is it just you that's got?
I don't. Most bookmakers have got.
I mean, you're all looking at each other all the time.
We're all looking
anyway, aren't you?
What happens is this. Once upon a time, if I was getting a big trainer's information, or they thought I was getting a big trainer's information, all eyes would be on me, what I was doing on that particular race. And because of one of my best friends is David Johnson, the leading owner and jumps, they have some reason to believe that every time a David Johnson horse runs, what's Barry Dennis doing with the David Johnson horse? But quite truthfully, Martin Pike, they all run on their merit and they're all there to win. And so they've all got the chance they represent. But the bookmakers tend to believe that I would have inside information about certain stables. And is this inside information or not? I don't know, because I watch the racing channel on my days off. And on my days off, the trainers are interviewed, the owners, the connections are all interviewed, and very informative the interviews are, aren't they, David?
Yes.
Yesterday or the day before, I was watching Folkestone, and the trainer of It's All Right Fred, or It'll Be All Right Fred. Right said Fred, that was the one. She came on, and she said, my horse is very, very well. It'll go extremely well. I'm very confident. It went from 5 to 4 to 11 to 4 in the market, and I can't remember the name of the rider, the owner, I believe. He's not the best jockey in the world, tell him if you're watching, but he won it, led all the way virtually, and won. Yet the horse went from 5 to... Yet the information direct from the trainer's lips 5 minutes before the off on the racing channel was, my horse will go very well and I expect it to win.
Yes.
And so it doesn't always reflect in the market, does it?
Used to the game, obviously, Barry, is to try and get every horse in the race in the book, isn't it? I mean, when I was in the ring 20 years ago, there was a possibility of doing that, but not anymore, it seems.
No, that's an absolute impossibility. Let me give you a simple example, Dave. Supposing we'll pick a race out today, shall we? There's a 4-runner race.
Cavaliero's race.
140. Where Joker Jack, as you suggested back home a couple of hours ago, ought to be 1,001.
Yes.
Well, it will be unlayable anyway, Joker Jack. It doesn't represent any percentage in the market at all, does it?
No.
Even if 100 to 1, it only represents 1%.
That's right.
If it was layable. 10 to 11, 6 to 4. Well, basically, I won't be able to lay anything outside them front two. And if I laid them at those prices alone, I'd be over broke, wouldn't I? 10 to 11, 6 to 4. So I don't know what's going to happen later on, but let's presume, perhaps a regular client of mine comes up and bets an 1,100 to 1,000 on Cavaliero, and I will then take it out and go 4 to 5. Other people start going 7 or 2 to 1, and I haven't got any room. I'm now stuck with the bet. I've had someone bet 1,100 to 1,000 on, and that will probably be the book if that occurs. I won't lay another horse in the race and hope that the punter happens to be wrong. You can't lay all horses, and a simpler example I could come for the inexperience is if there was a 3-runner race and they went evens, 12 to 1, and I laid an even £1,000, one of them, that would immediately go to 4 to 5. The other one would go to 5 to 4 against, and the remaining horse would be a 20, 25 to 1 chance. Well, the logic there is I can't lay evens 5 to 4 and 25 to 1 in a 3-runner race.
Because you're over broke.
Because I'm over broke. So consequently, I'm stuck with the bet. Once I've laid the even £1,000, I'm stuck with it.
To people watching at home who don't understand how you make a book, it's all done around percentages, isn't it? In theory, everything over 100% in theory, you would keep.
Should be profit, yes.
Providing you've laid every horse to a certain amount. Now, your book there on that 4-horse race comes to about, what, 116%?
At the moment, it shows 116% to kick off with.
That's right.
Yes.
That's on those prices. So if you laid every horse to a certain amount at that percentage, you would win 16%.
Nearly, Dave, but we'll agree.
Theory.
In the theory of 116%,
Yes.
116% being the whole, every £116 I took, I would pay out £100, yes? So if 116% is the whole, I would win about 12% or 12.5%,
Yes.
okay?
Yeah.
So yes, in theory, yes. But the problem being that once one bet is struck on one of them horses, the others drift
It's
alarmingly
supply and demand, isn't it?
in a weak market, and the theory goes out the window. So now you can either stand the horse that is being backed either by the offices or the public,
Yes.
and play one against one, or you can attempt to lay the other horses regardless of any price. And it's possible, and frequently happens now, that we bet to 98, 99% because of the fact that the volume of money is for only one horse, and so the bookmakers stretch the others in an attempt to field some money against that, and it's not there.
Do you find now, because of the weakness of the market, you tend to become a punter as well as a bookmaker on certain races?
This is a term often people apply to me. I'm not a punter in any way, shape or form. But what does happen is this, that if they was a 2-horse race and they was going evens each and I laid an even £1,000, I would never lay another bet. That's the end of it, because if I couldn't lay evens the other one, which is no percentage at all, I wouldn't play. So if you think that I stand one horse for a lot of money and don't lay the others, that makes me a punter. Yes, okay, in that I am a punter.
In the weakness of the market that there is in certain fixtures in this country now, it does seem to favour off-course outlets who can send money back and shorten the price of a horse to cut their liabilities, of course.
Yes, I agree there as well. I have some big business accounts that quite legally ring me up on course and ask me, send me to the big three, ask me to put 2,000 or 4,000 on a horse, and
which would significantly cut the price of the market in a weak market anyway.
In a weak market, I could reduce a horse from 7-4 to evens at most places with £4,000.
And that could cut an off-course liability by up to 50%.
I've said this before, so I don't think there are 10,000 betting shops anymore. Let's presume there are 10,000 betting shops, and if each betting shop had £100 on the favourite in their shop, 10,000 times 100, does that come to $1 million?
Well, yeah, it does, yeah.
And so if I reduce that from 7-4 to evens with £4,000, instead of laying 7-4 to £1 million, you lay evens to £1 million. And so there is a weakness, but hopefully with this new purchase scheme, there'll be stronger bookmakers coming into the ring, and the market will be a lot stronger.
Do you see that going a significant way? I mean, there are a lot of pitches up for sale, it would appear, all over the country.
Yeah, there are lots of pitches up for sale. People have got...
Would you see yourself buying pitches or selling some of yours?
I have spent a long time thinking, and I haven't fully decided. I'm coming up 59 years old, been 30-odd years in this game and not progressed from the back row, so I would have liked the opportunity to have bought pitches and gone forward, but 59...
There's only certain pitches that are worth buying, really, though, aren't there?
Precisely. That an example I could perhaps give, that pitch number 5 might become available. This is a new system, not pitch. Pick number 5 would become available at Newmarket Rowley Mile, and then the next one available after that is pick number 14. Well, pick number 14 on off days is no better than my pick number 32, which probably stands side by side. So what point of me buying pick number 14 for 90% of the days at Newmarket Rowley Mile? It's no great improvement on the present position I'm in. So pick number 5 would probably come to a lot of money, though, at most places.
Phil, you're Barry's long-standing clerk. How do you stand it?
Long-standing or suffering?
I was going to say long-suffering.
Yes, suffering.
You've been with him a long time, haven't you?
Yes, 10 years out on the race course, but we worked 30-odd years ago.
You're pretty quick at the book. We've watched you do it. I mean, when the new computerised system comes in, as it's going to in the near future, do you think that'll be quicker than the recognised clerk as it is now?
Depending, it's probably better that the fact that or easier at the fact the figures are all there for you basically once you punch that in. But we've got reservations really with the tickets coming out, you know, that it doesn't matter how fast you punch those keys, the tickets seem to dwell, you know, like it's a delay before that comes out the machine.
So, I mean,
Barry cracks away probably faster than anybody.
Yeah, with a good clerk like yourself, you could probably take a lot more bets in that time.
Yes, you know, like there are instances, we had a couple last week of races where he's rattled off and like we both said, well, a computer wouldn't have handled it, you know.
Didn't they had a test, didn't they? Man against machine somewhere.
I don't know if they've had one. I mean, Barry did.
Someone. I think the man came out on top.
Yeah. I mean, I would back myself to get the bets in the book quicker than...
If there's a power failure, it could be a problem as well.
Of course, yeah, you've got that. I mean, we've had instances where it's... we've seen where it's poured down with rain during an afternoon and they've had to pack up, you know. Or whether they'll overcome that with covers or better technology, we don't know. You know, obviously the printers, since they first started, the printers have got better. Since I think like John Lovell was the first one out, and that seemed desperately slow, you know, but they do seem to be improving. But as I say, whether they can cope with the way he rattles bets off, I don't know. But obviously at the end of it, if you can get them on and get the tickets out, it probably is better, you know, because the figures are all done for you. You know exactly how you're betting, exactly what every horse loses. Yeah, it probably is better, but whether it's fast enough or whether he gets a rush, I don't know.
It'll still be a job for a clerk, though, won't it? Somebody's got to...
Oh, someone's got to punch the computer, yes, yeah. Probably... clerks like myself, you get obviously a certain amount of job satisfaction. You feel you've got certain skills and that. Well, punching a computer key doesn't really seem that you're using your experience or limitations or whatever. You know. It's,
Can you just show us your book so we can just before they disappear totally?
This is a race at Newmarket back in October. So we've got a 10
It was a big day, wasn't it? Daylami.
Yeah, quite a big race. This is a Daylami race, yeah. We finished up with fielding £4,600.
That's your field money?
Yeah, we paid that.
Just to run down the Daylami column, on the left there is your liabilities.
This is the actual takeout, yes. You have your bets here. It's 11 to 8 at this stage, 110 to 80, 55 to 40.
The ticket number there.
This is the field
out running total.
Each horse. Yeah. And this is the takeout of each horse. Well, you can see in the end we were holding on the win book £4,200. Daylami took out £6,000.
That was a loser for £2,000.
That was a loser for £1,800. Yeah. Basically, that looks about the only loser we had on the race. This wins us £600. This wins £1,100. Not a bad book, really.
And you can tell at an instant whether it's a winner or a loser, but
of course,
comparing your field money with take-out money.
I mean, immediately at the off, sometimes you haven't obviously got all this out because you've had a rush at the off, you know, but
do you find,
seconds afterwards, you know.
Obviously, Barry wants you to tell him what his liabilities are as you're going along. When the race is off, he also wants to know what a bogey is, I suppose.
Largely, yes, but he does have a very good idea himself anyway. I mean, if I went to sleep, he would still know, you know.
Yes.
A lot of them need to know a lot more than Barry does. He does have a very good idea himself how you're going and, you know, what's for what, you know, without me telling him. He doesn't really often ask a lot anyway. A few clerks that have stood in for him at times have sort of said, well, this is for so-and-so, and he tells them to shut up. You know, like, don't talk to me, don't tell me anything I don't want to know, because he's got it basically, to an extent, in his head, you know. So...
that looks a good day. I don't think today you're going to be as busy as that.
I doubt it, no. We might take that many bets on the day.
OK.
Hello, Barry Dennis. Right, let's go through Plumpton quick, can we? 12.40 Plumpton, anything? Nothing happening. 110 Plumpton. Odds on native, 39 on. OK, 140. You've got 8 to 11, not 10 to 11 now, Cavaliero. 8 to 11 now, Cavaliero, not 10 to 11, yeah. 4 to 6 Polar Flight, yeah. Supreme Day. 5 bar 1 now, that's 5 to 1 now, Supreme Day, yeah. 5 followers. Cardinal Rule into 6 to 4. That's 11 to 4 early morning. 7 to 4, sorry, yeah. 6 to 4 Cardinal Rule, yeah, on the screens, yeah.
Patrol, yeah, I've got 6 to 4 only anyway. Yeah. Nothing happened to last race. Phil, just take that for me, please. Well, can we go over to the 1250? Rowlandson's Charm, £20 a 5, ticket number 81. Ching change, thank you.
So the multi-franchise.
Multi-franchise, £45 a 10, 82, thank you. Alex 4 to 1 of Hill, 9 a 2 bar. 8 Treasure Dome, 5 Inclination. Which one? Yes, sir. Multi-franchise, £45 a 10, T number 883, thank you.
£10 inclination.
Inclination, £50 a 10, T number 884, thank you. Franchise now, £90 a 20, down yourself, pays it.
Travelling then over 2 miles and a furlong, the Brighton novices claiming hurdle and Russian River over on the inside got a good start.
Race on down towards the final fight. Very big damage is a grim one here. Battling really bravely, running around a bit, coming towards the final fight. He's up and over from the time.
Can he find an extra effort on the hill? Limit the damage over on the far side. He's sticking to his guns very bravely. Treasure Dome is trying very hard as they race on towards the line, but limit the damage is too good.
Toasted. Oh, I ain't. Toasted, 125.5 each way, 51. Bowls, 8 105 down yourself. Here, 6 Dancing Poser. 6 Dancing Poser. Head for Evans, £25 a 5. Head for Evans, ticket number 903. I'll let 3 to 1 bar 1, 8 to 1 bar 1 or 2.
Of the backline bookmakers, Barry Dennis is one of the most aggressive and accommodating. And to my sort of stakes, I very rarely have a problem. You know, he should be much further up the rankings compared to some of the fellas on the front line who would systematically halve the bets. You know, and I'm not talking to massive amounts. You know, I'm not a big punter. I'm a regular punter. Yeah, there's Barry is an example of a bookmaker who's probably in the wrong position.
You can certainly hear him anywhere in the ring, can't you?
Yeah,
the bullying character.
He certainly advertises his prices. You know the horses he wants to lay. But that's fair enough. Why can't we have charismatic bookmakers making the game what it should be? It's no secret that there's dead wood in the betting ring.
£25 a 5, it's forever, get on 903. That's pretty much. I'll let 3 to 1 bar 1, 8 to 1 bar 1 or 2.
Ticket's gift and Keep Me in Mind, who's staying on pretty well. That was over the second last. Fountain Bid is still there as well for the minors. Millmount, the one to catch then as she races on up the hill towards the final flight. The far side, Keep Me in Mind, the yellow jacket. The near side, Tickety's Gift and Fountain Bid. 1 flight left to take, and Millmount is over by about 6 or 7 lengths then from Tickety's Gift, who moves into second place, and racing inside the closing stages all the way for Millmount here and Brendan Powell. They win.
Delegation.
I'll carry this all on my own, okay?
Barry, back home again now. You went into the track full of optimism and come out rather dejected.
Yeah, it was well, this game is up and downs, and it's depressing when you lose, especially on a day like today when even you'll admit it was tight as cold, wasn't it? It was absolutely
I think it was
bitter.
probably the coldest day of the year
It was the
so
coldest
far.
day I've known all year, and the crowd was low. I mentioned earlier on, it was a transferred meeting. It was on the calendar as Fontmore, and whenever meetings are transferred, we never seem to get an attendance. And the crowd was low, the money was poorish, but you have to take the good with the bad, and sometimes you can turn up like that, and it could be a good day. So I tend to look at it. It's my living, and so I need to go out every day, regardless of the weather condition and whether it's going to be good or bad.
You started off in the first, well, not a bad race, Limit the Damage one, which you laid a little bit to.
We was winning early. We got to
£979 in front on the Plumpton meeting, and to £787 in front on the aways, Catterick and Wolverhampton. So some stage during the middle of the afternoon we was winning 1,800 quid.
So how were you doing after the first race when Limit the Damage won?
Well, we was winning £300 or £400 after the first one, and then we
Native Charm won the second race. I mean, that was a Skinner for you, wasn't it?
A Skinner for 347 quid, because
Skinner being you didn't lay the horse.
I didn't lay the winner, because, as you'd probably heard about all day, I was told that there was a horse in the race I ought to get on with, and I knocked that out to 5 to 1, and the favourite would have been 7 of Or On, but it didn't happen that way, did it? And I've got no control over what other bookmakers want to do, and that favourite went off. It didn't go for evens, but there was evens available quite often, and in the end, as I tried to explain about betting margins, there was no betting margin left for me to do, and so I just had to go the way I fell, and I was with the favourite. The favourite was a Skinner, and fortunately that duly won by a distance.
This filly, this mare I should say, Native Charm, in a different league at this stage. Got one fence left to jump, coming up towards it now, and as with all the others, absolutely no problem. A fine round of jumping here by Native Charm. I think she deserves a round of applause, don't you, as they race on up towards the hill. A very, very easy win then for a classy mare. Native Charm and Jimmy McCarthy win.
Going into the third race, it looked Joker Jack, we already said, couldn't possibly win.
Yeah,
it did look a 2-horse race, but in the end it turned out to be a 3-horse race.
Yeah, and we didn't bet too bad there. You probably, on camera, you got me laying 11 or 10 on one of them, 7 of Or another. And
Cavaliero and Woodlands Bow.
Yeah, and 5 to 1 and 9 to 2 the winner. So even those three alone, without Joker Jack, comes out 106, 107%, and I won £602 on that race without any big liabilities on the race.
So you still think things are going all right until you came to the fourth race, where you laid far less hassle?
Well,
quite lovely, didn't you?
Yeah, I laid far less. I laid 1,600 to 4 in one bet, and some other 10, 20, 30 pound bets at 4 to 1, and the horse I was told there, the Nicholson horse, that would be a drifter. I can't recall that. Would you remember that was called, though?
Supreme Day.
Supreme Day went from 3 to 1 to 7 to 1, and it was difficult to lay. And so I was reluctant to be heavy into the favourite, but other bookmakers laid 4 to 5, the favourite early. Polar Mist, I think it was called, wasn't it? And I missed the boat somewhere, somewhat, that I didn't let them bet 7 of Or On when I could have done. They would have bet me 7 of Or On, but I was looking to get the third in and other runners before I laid the favourite in on that occasion. So finally I had a small amount of odds on bet on and laid some other horses, but I finished up losing the 360 odd pound when the Far Less Hassle won the race.
You knew you failed a long way out though there with that. It was going so well, wasn't it, down the back straight?
It went clear, and they kept kidding me the favourite was travelling easily on the bit 10 lengths behind, but I assumed it was travelling easy on the bit 1 length behind and 10 lengths behind, and so finally they didn't have to turn a foot, and the winner won quite comfortably, didn't it?
And over in good style. He's run them off their feet here. Polar Flight has had no answer. He's trying hard on the run-in, but Far Less Hassle has got far too much firepower for him this afternoon. Goes on to score an all-the-way success in the hands of Timmy Murphy. Polar Flight in second place.
What about the race after that, the 2 mile 5 handicap chase, which Scarbo won?
Scarbo.
Race for you on the book?
I had a Skinner for it, but I only took £600 because I'd been involved in betting on a race across the card, either at Catterick or Wolverhampton, that was running late, and I hadn't joined in the Plumpton betting until late. So, and the favourite drifted there. He went from 6 to 4 out to 2 to 1. And in the end I didn't feel a lot of money, 600 quid on the race, and I had a Skinner, yeah. So that was probably, it was at that stage that we was getting nearly £1,000 at Plumpton, and best part of 800 quid on the away, so we was winning £1,800.
It was after the 5th race that I said to you that, do you ever feel like you should go now, take the profit and not bet on the last 2 races?
Thanks very much for reminding me, Dave. Yes, that's exactly what you did say. You said if you're ever a couple of grand in front, do you feel like going home then when it's a freezing cold day? But I deliberately stayed because you wanted me to go home because you was freezing cold. No, the truth is that I paid my expenses for the day, I paid the staff wages for the day and all that, and so I feel this way, that there's 2 races to go. What difference the last 2 races at Plumpton and the first 2 races tomorrow at Windsor? It doesn't make much difference to me which of them 2 races I'm going to bet on, does it?
The bookmaker is betting in front of you. Chris Lane decided to do just that,
Yeah,
go
he did
home. That allowed you to change your pitch. You started taking a lot more bets because you had a more prominent position, but it didn't really work out how you thought it would.
No, it was unfortunate, but then once again I feel that is the luck of the draw. Suddenly I was given a much better pitch because senior bookmakers and me left and went home, and my turnover then increased dramatically. I took £2,855 on the next race, but the favourite was back from 9 of or into 7 of or by Ladbrokes and other offices, and I lost £2,000 on the race. So the whole day's winnings all went in one race, but I felt I had the value when I was holding a lot more money in the field book, and the business was a lot better because I'd moved up into a frontline pitch.
They just left the last race. So you were told early morning that Millmount was a relatively good thing.
Yes.
Now, did that sway you in the way you bet on the last race?
I always take notice of what people, when my information comes through, but when it reduces to a price I feel I ought to lay, like this Millmount had been 7-2 earlier on and 3-1, and I hadn't laid any money, I didn't take any money for it at all at that price. But then when it reduced to 5-2, I thought now's the time I ought to start getting involved, and I laid an £800 bet in one hand that done £2 grand. But I didn't have. I'm not complaining about the book I had in the last, because I've laid 7 of all the favourite and 5-2 the second in, and that would somewhere come out about 7 of all on the 2 horses coupled, and there was 2 at 6-1 and 2 at 12-1, and the margin was there. It was about 108%. It's just the wrong result, unfortunately. So from mid-afternoon, when we was winning 2,000, we moved into a better pitch, and we went out with our tails between our legs. We finished up doing £892 on the day before expenses.
And now, of course, we're looking at just after 6 o'clock now, and you'll be looking obviously at tomorrow's card, because you're going to bet at Windsor tomorrow as well. You're going to go through the whole process again.
I dropped Philip off 10 minutes ago at his house, and there's a newsagent next door. I said, run in and get me an evening standard, please, with tomorrow's probs in, will you? And he come out with that, and as we said goodnight, I'm in here now. Directly you finished filming, the internet will go on, see if the racing post is up yet with tomorrow's runners. The standard, I'll be studying that, and the runners, and there's a football match on tonight. I'll do all those 3 things. Bit of dinner, bed about 11 o'clock, and up 6:30 in the morning. The circus goes on, we move on to Windsor tomorrow.
Do you ever feel like enough's enough, you want to put your feet up, carpet slippers or that sort of thing?
Yes, I do feel like that, and after about 2 days the wife runs out screaming, so I have to go back to work. She can't stand me in here all day, every day.
Well, let's hope you're having a better day than at Windsor tomorrow.
I hope so, and enjoy being with you today, everybody.
Taking the yard over, going to put a few horses with him, and basically he's going to be there as a salesman. You know, he keeps the owners amused, and he's had a tremendous run. He's had about a dozen winners in the last 3 weeks, going really well, and good news for him.
But he's a cracking good trainer. We laugh and have a joke with him, but that's the one image.
Good. When the money's down, he's brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's a great lad. If I could afford to have a horse, I'd have a horse with him. Talking
I'm not sure he wants that.
But going on to today's racing, a lot of punters will take the easy way out, go for Frankie Dettori in the first 2, Ace of Trumps and Aesops. If those 2 win, of course, there'll be lots of running up bets. But why isn't he riding Kissogram, which is the obvious choice of the 340? Well, it says to Charlie Fawcus of the Mirror that Luca Comani asked him to ride Kissogram, but Frankie was committed to Godolphin. When their horse dropped out, Luca Comani had booked John Reed, so we were left high and dry, said Frankie's agent, Matty Cowan. So that's why he's not on it. But, as Claude Duval says, with John Reed as the rider, Claude Duval says that maybe Jimmy Fortune will be taking over from John Reed and Manton. Next year, Robert Sankster doesn't like to sack his jockeys, but a Manton insider says one day JR will be shot, he can't go on forever, and Jimmy Fortune is riding out of his skin at present. So it looks as though that we're going to lose John Reed to Jimmy Fortune for Robert Sankster. Whether that's true or not, we don't know.
I think what you would say, John Reed's the sort of jockey, he won't have any problem picking up spare rides.
Great, I must say,
I shouldn't think for a moment there's any truth in it.
No, I would back any horse that John Reed was riding, I'd have no trouble.
Always in the right place.
Absolutely.
Oh, there you go. It's got a bit of a voice in it. Not like John Reed, you won't go far wrong.
I must be too easy to
As he starts to pick up on trainers when he's starting to own a horse, you're too frightened to say anything, and then the trainer sort of says, well, I think maybe we should try putting it into the stalls backwards this week. Oh, yeah. Good idea, but now it's nice to sort of make suggestions. John Reid, I noticed he normally rides for George Ward, and the first race, so it's conditions race, 2:35 here, and he's gone on to Stoutie's horse today, so we'll see. Very interesting. That's before Channel 4 covers it, but it'll be very interesting to see what happens there.
So which trainers do you do with an impersonation of?
I haven't. Oh, Michael Stout. He's got a very nice. I would you, Michael Stout? I'd cover the camera with you because he's got a very slight sort of. He's going to kill me for this. Beyond the phone. What the hell were you doing earlier this morning?
And you forgot the sir as well.
And I forgot the sir. Sorry. I forgot the sir. And there's Tomo. I was talking to Queen Mother. She said, "Hey, Tomo." That also. Tomo is a brilliant singer. Did you know?
No.
You know, he's a brilliant singer, Tomo. Yeah. Just has trouble with top C's though. Well, there we go. Talking to a jockey and he well, we have fun here, don't we?
But can you phone Lady Harris up and pretend to be somebody else? She's not the type who appreciates that sort of thing.
Yeah, well, no, she loves. I do pretending to be Colin sometimes. Hello, what's Colin Cowdery? Hello, how's it all going? We've caught her once, and she's also got a stable guy called Dan Donovan. Occasionally you ring up. Yeah, he comes from the house who escaped. I don't know if you're eating a lot of petunias. I don't know if it's good for you or not. No, he's great fun as that. So you can do all sorts of things. I'm going to ring up as Mac one day. Are we running Croco Rouge or not? There it is. The bookies have put Stravinsky at 4-1.
Well, we're very fortunate with who we have at Sandown today, but there's plenty of other places you can go racing if you can't come here. 7 meetings up and down the country today. So obviously we're here at Sandown for Variety Club Day. They're on the flat at Chester this afternoon, and also they're at Ripon this afternoon. They're over the jumps at Perth, and this evening there's jumping at Market Raisin, and there's flat racing at Wolverhampton and Lingfield. So no shortage of places to get out and go and see the horses today. Well, it is Variety Club Day here at Sandown, and well, it wouldn't be the same without racing's biggest personality and biggest smile. Frankie Dettori's here. He's got rides in 3 of our 4 live races this afternoon on 4. And he'll be teaming up in our first live race with a fancied horse. Let's look at that race now. That is the Pobjoy Mint Rated Stakes Handicap. It's at 3:05. 7 runners take on the 5 furlongs, and Frankie is aboard JMP, the 2-1 favourite. Kotashi Castle and Cradid Avenue are on 7-2. Kilcullen Lad 9-2, and it's 12-1 bar those. Of course, Frankie had a terrific success on Loch Angel in the Nunthorpe earlier this week, and he joins forces again with trainer Ian Balding on JNP, as he did when winning at Newmarket in May.
Past the 2 furlong marker far side, and that's Thatcherella clear by 3. 2 in the yellow sleeves, the horse with the nose band, JMP picking up. Here comes Tyler and Go Heaver Golf. The stand side headed by Stuffed, who's come through. Sir Joey with a flourish. They're inside the final furlong now, and Thatcherella flat to the boards. Here comes JMP with a run. Uriel from the back. It's going to be close. JMP on the stand side to Joe. It's going to be very close, but JMP the winner. Sir Joey second.
Yeah, really decent horse, JNP. Looked to be coming back to his best at Newbury last weekend. He's a hold-up horse, and he's coming out of stall 7. Normally, you know, in a sprint, although it favours the high numbers, you'd say that maybe, you know, get a bit of trouble in running. But with so few runners, you've got Cortese Castle, who's actually a decent 3-year-old, of Brian Means, who'll probably come from stall 4, come across, give him a little bit of a lead.
And coincidence, there'll be plenty of pace, won't
there? Yeah, he ought to have the race run to suit him, and he's run off a much higher mark than he runs off today. And you know, you can't overlook the fact that Ian's horses are in good form.
Yeah, they're brilliant.
Particularly the sprinters. I mean, cracking form in the Nunthorpe, the other 3rd as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but you know, there's 3 or 4 horses in good form. Old Cradid Avenue, he was off for a long time, came back the other day, ran just behind JMP at
He's another one to come late.
Yeah. And Kilcullen Lad didn't have any sort of a chance in the Stewards' Cup. I think he was drawn 5 or something. But prior to that, there's a very good horse called A-Fan, and he chased him up. So he's got it on his plate, but strictly on the pick of his form, he's got every chance.
Yeah.
Your tip, though?
I take J. Yeah, sorry,
you're going for it as well.
Yeah, well, JNP, I think Kortaki Castle is the threat there, but that'd be a good deal forecast, wouldn't it? Kortaki Castle and JNP.
We have trouble picking one out. Never mind.
No, but Frankie was so good this week on Loch Angel. He was great, and a lot of win for Ian Balding. He won that, all very good. Yeah, bacon, 2 toasts and 3 rolls for table 2, right? He's brilliant. He promised to ride for me one day. He said, yeah, we'll do it, we'll do a deal. We're just sorting out the actual details of the retaining contract now. I think he's going to get a Vectra, a Nissan Micra. But yeah, J&P in the first.
Cars. Well,
sorry,
so we've gone for J&P.
Yeah, J&P for me, yeah.
So that's probably put the mockers on that. And in fact, talking of cars, our second race is the Ford 25 years celebration Atlanta Stakes. Listed race this for fillies and mares, and it's over a mile. Sadly, as we've already heard, just 4 runners in this, but they are headed there by Kissogram. And interestingly enough, trainer of Kissogram, Luca Kamani, won this last year with One So Wonderful, and what a good week she had. That's the 9-4 on favourite. Super Cal 9-4, David Ellsworth's brother, Acarita on 8, and Signs and Wonders. Well, I'm sure Charles Sizer hasn't sent it here for the 4th place prize money, but it's a 50-1 shot at the moment. Kissogram, boys. Kissogram's boys. I mean, don't restrict it to the horse, please.
He ran well at Goodwood. That's the last time I saw him. He was... I'm just going to come out with a load of nonsense here. I'm going to sit here. No, I meant the other one.
I bet he's been showing you the wrong horse for the
I'll be
last
found out now. No, I'll be sitting here saying, no, yeah, well, clearly I think the horse, you know, he likes the cut in the ground. I think he needs to run. I think it'll get the trip. And obviously down in the weights, somebody says, what does that mean? I don't know. Yeah. Tell me that, yeah. OK, no, Kissogram and saw her, thank you very much, at Goodwood, and ran very well there.
Yeah, no, I mean, she wouldn't be in the same league as One So Wonderful, although she's from the same family. But she'd come back to a mile, and I think trainers like to win the same sort of races when they've got a filly that they think is progressing. Super Cal.
It's going to be very tactical, isn't it? There's not a lot of 4 runners.
Yeah, I mean, Super Cal's a filly I like, but we saw her run at Lingfield early part of the season over 7 furlongs, and David Ellsworth took me to task because I said she's quite a sort of tall, leggy filly, and I still stand by that. I think he's a little bit like Rory, you know, not sure what he's got looking round the yard. But I think
you're not going to come on again, are you?
No, I'm going to be gelded next time.
Yeah.
Just confuse you all.
Yeah. Oh, you've been able to do some female impressions.
Oh, no, you've got quite a high voice there, Charles.
I mean, it's not, you know, is it a 2-horse race? I mean, it's difficult. They're still putting Acarita in at 8-1, but I mean...
Yeah, but she's not without a chance either. She's got good bits of form. She ought to, you know, take a chance. And, you know, you naturally think, oh, One So Wonderful last year, is this as good? You know, the form doesn't say she is.
No, I mean, could progress, obviously. The difficulty when I said about it being tactical, just the 4 runners, they could just crawl early on unless, I mean, maybe they'll make, maybe Charles Sizers will seize the day and go on and set a decent pace, but it's always tricky, isn't it?
But she ran 1.25 miles at Goodwood last time. She wouldn't be the fastest filly in the world. You know, she's coming back to a mile this afternoon. So, I mean, I wouldn't want to stand in the ring and be later, but having said that, I wouldn't be surprised if Super Cal, normally they hold her up, but round here, I wouldn't be surprised to see him change tactics this afternoon, make the run in with her.
Going with Lucas Filly as a tip?
No, because I like Super Cal. I'm going to stick with her.
Rory?
Kissogram on that one.
Yeah,
I'm afraid.
I'm afraid me too. But one thing's for sure, all 4 of them will be in the money because there's prize money down to 4th place. Now up to Mac.
Very, very quiet betting. You put on moderate racing on a Saturday, you don't get the punters interested. Ladbrokes report a bit of money in the 4.10 for Steamroller Stanley. They've gone 14-1. Hills are only going 10-1. They've cut it to 10-1 in the credit with Ladbrokes. We will be able to get 14-1 until 10:15. That race, the 4.10, the last 13 favourites have been beaten. And in the 3.05, put in favourite 2-1 J&P.